Hi, Pastor Kyle here. Did you ever have this happen when you were a kid that somebody bigger or older than you would knock you down and get on top of you and just start tickling you or rubbing knuckles on your head or something like that, something obnoxious like that, and want you to say, Uncle, which makes no sense to me unless there were a lot of uncles that did that. I know my dad sometimes would do that, and my one of my older cousins would do that. And I remember thinking, how wonderful it would be if I developed some kind of a skill where I could just turn the tables on them and I could get them to say, Uncle. And I would dream about that, how wonderful it was. Today, with the news of the Ukraine, I just wanted to cry out, Uncle, I give up. Because it just seems like there's one thing after another in these past few years. Not that anything I'm going through, anything we're going through, compares to what the people in the Ukraine are going through and the fear they must feel and the unknown for their future. But I do feel that way. I just want to say, Uncle. In Matthew 24, Jesus talks about how in the end time, what we call the end times, it's the time just before the end of all time, when Jesus returns, Jesus talks about how there are going to be wars and rumors of wars. And don't be alarmed by this. Don't be surprised by this. But there'll be wars and rumors of wars. There'll be earthquakes and famine, and people will be arrested because they're my followers, because they're Christians. I think of that and I think, I don't know if we're there now, if we're certainly closer. But I think of those things and I just want to say, Uncle. And I have to remind myself, that as always, I'm never abandoned. I have to remind myself that Jesus is in me and is with me, that God is all powerful and God knows what's ahead, and that God is not going to let that stuff win. In fact, Jesus knows suffering better than we could ever know suffering, and that Jesus' suffering, God's suffering through Jesus, was so that these things would not win out. I have to remember those. In fact, Jesus said, do not let your hearts be troubled. Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. So that in that next moment, no matter what happens, we can know that we're being held and God is with us. We can know that those things win out. And maybe, just maybe in that next moment, death, evil, war, hatred, disease, all of those things will say, Uncle. That will happen. Take heart. God bless you. And pray for the people of the Ukraine. And pray for each other.